Jim Jordan, I want to come to you. This is President Trump on 60 Minutes last night on the business about the filibuster. Take a listen. Here it comes.
I think we should do the nuclear option. This is a totally different nuclear, by the way. It's called ending the filibuster. Republicans have to get tougher. If we end the filibuster, we can do exactly what we want. We're not going to lose power.
All right, Mr. Jordan, let me just ask a technical question.
Yeah.
Is it possible to carve out, now Chad Pergram mentioned this in his report, to carve out some kind of end to the filibuster just for a CR or appropriations? In other words, it would be like reconciliation, but for CRs. Now, is it possible to, I'm not advocating, I'm really asking you, you're the head of the Judiciary Committee, is that possible?
I think anything's possible. These are the Senate rules, but the Senate would have to be the one to do it, unless we're going to pass a law. But then to pass a law, it still takes the Senate to agree to do that. You still need a vote. So largely, this is a question for the United States Senate. But there have been carve-outs for other things. I think it's maybe something we could look at. But I leave this question largely to the senators, what they think is best. It's their rule that we're functioning under. And by the way, Larry, your riff was great. I learned a long time ago that price controls in government-run businesses lead to one thing every single time, and that's shortages. If that's what the folks in New York want, I mean, this is how ridiculous that is.
Yeah, well, Democrats are running on price controls. They're running in New York and in New Jersey. I don't know about Virginia. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But in those two states, they are. I mean, socialism's on the ballot tomorrow, Jim Jordan.
Yeah, and I had the opportunity way back when, 1987, to compete in what was then the Soviet Union. And I tell people, when you go to places like that, you thank the good Lord you live here where you don't have that type of system. I was in Moscow in February. It's like 400 below zero, and you walk into the stores and there's nothing there. There's nothing on the shelves. That's what that kind of system gives you. And this is what this guy in New York is promoting. And it sounds like Mikey Sherrill's doing some of the same thing, at least on the edges. That's not good. I think everyone should understand that. But that is, again, what's on the ballot tomorrow in these key races.
Senator Blackburn, you can see Jim Jordan punting to you on the question of a carve-out on the filibuster matter. So I'm going to ask you, is it possible to, it would be like a reconciliation bill, I suppose, just for continuing resolutions.
You know, Chuck Schumer would like to see the filibuster blown up because he wants D.C. and Puerto Rico to be a state, and he also wants to pack the Supreme Court. I'm not sure we solve anything by changing the filibuster. We have given the Democrats the opportunity more than 12 times to vote on a clean CR. As I said, it is their budget numbers. The House did it right. They sent us a clean CR. Republicans support it, all except one. And the Democrats continue to oppose it, except for about 3 of them that have voted with us. They need to get over themselves. They need to put the people first. And when we put this on the floor tomorrow, they need to vote aye.
Wow, another vote tomorrow. How great is that? Jim Jordan, when does this end? How does this end? Using your imagination, we have to reimagine. I have to reimagine Congress now because I don't see an end to it. I'm with Senator Blackburn. There's always a reason why there's somehow going to be a new CR, but the Democrats keep opposing it. Okay, I think it has a lot to do with the Trump derangement syndrome. But no, this isn't Trump's fault. He didn't do this. They're the ones doing it.
I totally agree. I mean, think about it. You got John Fetterman saying this is the Democrats' fault. You got the largest federal government employee union saying open up the government, and still they won't do it because of what you just described, this Trump derangement syndrome. And they try to flip it and say somehow it's President Trump's fault. I mean, you had the clip there from Hakeem Jeffries saying this is intentional and malicious. Baloney, they're the ones who said they're going to be suffering. They're the ones who said it gets better every day. They're the ones who are talking politics and ignoring what their own United States Senator, Mr. Fetterman, said, and ignoring what the federal government employee union said. They're the ones ignoring that. So Senator Blackburn's exactly right. They've had now 13 times to do this, and this is largely a debate between Chuck Schumer and Chuck Schumer. It's a debate he's having with himself because he supported it 6 months ago, the exact same spending levels, but they won't do it now, even though the biggest government union says you should do it.
All these Democratic unions say you should pass the darn thing. There's no question about that. But look, Senator Blackburn is always right, by the way. I just want to put that in parenthetically. But Jim Jordan, here's my last...
Tell my husband.
I'm sorry about that. But Jim Jordan, it's the same spending level as the Biden. Yeah. It's the same level for discretionary spending, is it not? I mean, that's the point. Hakeem Jeffries, you can disagree with him, okay? Fine. He's entitled to his opinion, but he's not entitled to his facts. The fact is, it's the same spending level as Biden had, which they signed off on, Jim Jordan. That's the really strange part of it.
They voted for it just 6 months ago. They won't do it now because they do, in their alternate bill, they do want to add in that, we want people who come here illegally to get taxpayer-financed health care. That's something they want. They want to expand Obamacare, continue this expansion that they've done now a couple times. They want to do it again, even though everything we were told about Obamacare turned out not to be true. They said, you like your plan, you can keep your plan. Like your doctor, keep your doctor. We didn't. That turned out not to be true. They told us premiums would go down. President Obama even said premiums will go down on average $1,500. None of that worked out, so they expand it, then they extend it. Now they want to extend it again. And won't vote for what they voted for before. That's the situation we're in, and it's so ridiculous. Even their own Senator John Fetterman says this is crazy, and all the federal government employee unions are saying the same darn thing.
I just give people making $500,000 a year, just give them free health care. That's what's in the bill.
That's what they did.
I know.
Yeah.
I got it. Senator Blackburn, though, I didn't want to forget this. The whole business about Jack Smith and Arctic Frost and the wiretap. You and I talked about this when this story first broke several weeks ago. So now, according to your tweet, Verizon Telephone Company agreed with the Judge Boasberg not to let you know that this information was being ordered for your phone records. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. First of all, Verizon agreed to play ball with Jack Smith and Boasberg, the judge. That's very bad and surprises me because the head of Verizon is a very conservative CEO. But AT&T said no. AT&T said they won't play. Now, is that true, ma'am? I just curious.
That is accurate. Yes, the subpoena that Judge Boasberg issued was on the Verizon records, and the same subpoena went to AT&T for their records. Each subpoena on all 9 of us had a non-disclosure order on top of the subpoena, which the order was, you can't tell us about this, and they were afraid we would be a flight risk or destroy evidence or tamper with evidence or intimidate witnesses.
Wow.
And of course, as we have learned, all of this, everything they've done is a violation of our First and Fourth Amendment rights. It's a violation of the Speech and Debate Clause and of the Stored Communications Act and the separation of powers. So we are pushing Chairman Grassley to call in Judge Boasberg and have a hearing with him. I think it's appropriate for the House and Chairman Jordan to begin impeachment proceedings on Judge Boasberg. There are 197 separate subpoenas affecting 430 organizations and individuals, all conservative.
Yeah, Judge Boasberg's probably a flight risk, if you ask me. Jim Jordan, I only have 30 seconds left. But you have to defend her honor. You're the head of the House Judiciary Committee.
No,
you got to defend Ms. Blackburn's honor, for heaven's sakes. They've been picking on her, and it's not good.
She's tough enough. She doesn't need anyone to defend her. But we are going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to do everything we can. Everything is on the table when it comes to Judge Boasberg. And let's be honest. There's a history with Judge Boasberg on a number of issues, not just over the last 9 months, but even going back further. So yeah, everything's on the table. We are actively going after more information because, as Senator Blackburn points out, over 190 subpoenas, 400 individuals targeting the Republican Party. That's what it looks like. Totally political attack on the other party from Mr. Smith and his special counsel investigation.
Yeah. I'm telling you, Boasberg's a flight risk. You'll see. Anyway, Senator Marsha Blackburn, thank you very much. Congressman Jim Jordan, we really appreciate it.